gentle way of just kind of starting your day out and stretching and mobilizing. Today, we're not going to do any sort of myofascial release. But when you normally come to this class, if you do register, you'll want to bring in like a mobility ball, a lacrosse ball, a tennis ball, something of that sort. And I'd like to try to keep that more of our regular agenda. So I didn't quite get a note sent out to everyone. So today we're just going to work on a long band, a yoga strap, a belt, a long towel of some sort to just have that by your side. So we're just going to go ahead and start laying on our back. Those palms up towards the ceiling. And you can go ahead and keep your knees bent, or you can choose to extend those legs out. I just want us to take a moment to create some awareness inside of our bodies here. Always paying attention to where we might be, where we might feel some tension, if any. And start to pay attention to your breath. And if you are feeling any tension, you want to make sure that you just breathe into that space and try to let that tension go. Start to bring some awareness to our left leg as we slide that left leg above the floor. We're going to bring that thigh in and start to extend the knee and just slowly control that lowering down. Try not to fight anything, just relax that leg for the most part as you go down and use those hip muscles to slowly
Can you turn your music down more? It's drowning you out.
Is that better?
Yes, now I can hear you. Thanks.
All right. Okay, let's go ahead and go to that right leg. So you're going to start to slide that right heel along the floor, bending at the hip, extending gently, and then just reaching it down. Breathe in, flexing at the hip, extend that knee, and slowly lower it down. As we're doing these slow motions, pay attention to what areas of your body are working to lower that leg down. I'm not going to put too much cueing into your brain today. I just want you to pay attention. And always breathe through the motion. One last one here. We're going to slide both of those heels along the floor until those knees and hips are bent. Just keeping your feet close to each other and letting your knees fall open and close here. Open and close. Let's move out of these screens. I just want to make sure no one's waiting to get in there. going to have you at this time grab your belt, grab your long strap, your towel, whatever it is that you grabbed for stretching. I'm going to actually place it on the bottom of your foot, and you're going to extend your other leg. So you're going to grab with one arm, the same arm of the leg. So I'm grabbing with my left arm, my left leg. And I'm going to try to just relax all of those muscles. We're not going to use the muscles to move the leg. We're actually using the arm, the support of the arm, to just kind of pull that leg down. Wherever it wants to go. And we're just going to hold it here for a couple breaths.
Jenna, we can't hear you very well.
Thank you.
That's better.
I tried the music.
Okay, let's start over again.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, appreciate you letting me know. So we're gonna open up and just let that leg fall open. And as you just let it relax here, as you breathe, you might be able to get some of these muscles that are trying to hold the leg up to just shut off. Trust the band, trust the arm, trust the strap. Take that other arm, bring it across, and help pull that leg back, because I really want you to shut those muscles off as much as you can right now. We're going to do that one more time. Same leg. Relax that leg into your band. That's why you have a nice long strap. Some of you may have to be like this, holding your strap or your band if your leg doesn't come up. So you go to wherever your muscles say that's enough. We're not trying to force anything. Just find that soft end point and then just let the legs go out, that leg go out to the side, hanging on firmly, using the strength of that upper body to just let that leg fall. And once you get to that soft end point, this is where you're going to want to take some nice long exhale. See if you can make your exhale last a little bit longer. Maybe it's 5, 6, 10 seconds longer than your inhale. And once again, we're going to bring that other hand over and grab that strap and use the body, use the arms to pull that leg up. We're going to let go of the strap, but we're going to stay concentrating on this same leg for now. So now we're going to use those muscles to move the leg out and in. So bringing your leg out, resisting with the inner thigh, pulling with the outer thigh, glute muscles, and then bringing it back in. And this is where you want to work on an inhale as you're lowering your leg, control, and exhale as you come back up towards the ceiling. Inhale as your leg goes down, control, and exhale coming up. We're going to do one more like this. Inhale, if it's a lot of strain on your hip because your leg doesn't go straight up, just bend that knee. Bend that knee slightly if that feels a little bit better. And exhale, bring it back up. You're going to now lay that left leg or that leg you just got done moving along the floor. Grab your belt, grab your strap, grab your towel, whatever object you have, and you're going to wrap it on the bottom of the other foot. And this is where we just work on trusting the strength of our arm, releasing all of the muscles in the hip and the groin and the thigh, and use that arm and to pull that leg out to the side. Trying to shut everything off here. Whenever your leg says you hit that soft point and you're just really relying on the arm, this is where, again, you want to inhale and take a little bit longer exhale, trying to figure out which muscles are still contracting and trying to hold that weight of that leg up. Try to release those muscles. We're going to take that opposite arm and start to bring it over, grabbing and helping the other hand to pull that leg back up, trying to keep those muscles somewhat shut off. And again, the less range of motion you have in that hip, you're going to need to have a longer strap or a longer towel, because you might have to be out here to hold that. I need to be up in here because that's where my end point is. So again, find that soft end point and let's use the strength of that arm to control it out. Try to shut those leg muscles off here. Trust, trust, trust. And keep breathing. Today we're not trying to force our pelvis to stay down. If it wants to follow the weight of that leg over to the side, just let it go. And breathe. Exhale, trying to shut off those thigh muscles. Sometimes we don't even know they're contracted. And that other arm that's not hanging onto the band, you're now going to bring it across your body. Let that shoulder come up, grab, helping the other arm pull, 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 and bring it back up. We're going to take that foot out of our band, and now we're going to use the strength of the leg muscles. So again, if your leg does not come up vertical and your flexibility is here, you want to just bend your knees slightly to help avoid too much strain in the core and the hip flexors. And we're going to slowly use the strength of our inner thigh to resist and use the outer thigh to lower that leg down to wherever it might go. And if it wants to go all the way to the ground, let it, and let it pull that hip with you. Breathe through. And ever so slowly use the strength of that hip. Bring it back up. So all these muscles cross over your hip joint and are helping to move that leg. And we're going to go back out. Control it down. Breathing through. And a nice long exhale when you get to the bottom, and see if that leg just relaxes closer to the floor. And with your next breath, bring that leg back up again. And we're going to go one more time out to the side. Controlling down. And breathe through. And last time, bring it up. You're either exhaling or inhaling to bring that leg back up. And place that foot down on the ground and extend it out. And we're just going to kind of pedal the legs out, kind of bending your knees, releasing any tension through the thighs. We're going to take our attention down to our feet, and I want us to just pedal out our feet, pointing one foot while we're pulling the other foot up towards our head. Continue to pump those out, pedaling those feet. Hopefully you chose to take your shoes off today and your socks. If not, whenever you get the opportunity to, make sure you take those shoes and socks off. Free those toes, free those feet. You're going to go ahead and grab your strap again, and we're going to take the attention to that foot. Okay? So if you can, you're going to try to put the strap along the ball of the foot, not the arch, but the ball of the foot, which is the base of those toes. Okay? And you can keep your foot, your knee bent right now if that feels a little bit more comfortable, or you can straighten your leg, whatever feels best for you here. Okay? So I want us to actually use the strap to pull the ankle closer towards, or sorry, pull the toes closer towards the shin bone. So we're getting some mobility in the ankle. Okay? So pulling, that's why I wanted it around the base of the toes, and then just release. Again, try to shut these muscles off and just let the strength of your arm pull on the foot, release the toes, and then let it come back again. And again, pull and release. One more. Pull and release. And bringing that heel down. The hard part about that is as soon as we start pulling, these muscles want to engage. You try to relax it and just let the hand or the strap pull. So get that around the base of the big toes on that other side. You can have your legs straight if you want, or the knee bent. Okay. So it's going to just influence the lower leg a little bit different here. So you're going to go ahead and relax those muscles on the front of the lower leg and just use the strength of the band of your arms, and then release, pull again, and release. Once again, pull hard with those arms, and release. Good. Go ahead and release everything. We're going back once again to that first side, that left side. You're going to go ahead and just bend the knee here. This time we're letting the leg fall out with a bent knee versus a straight knee. And you're going to slide that thigh up towards your armpit and then bring everything in and across the body, just a little bit across the midline. Skim that foot on the inside of the other leg and then let it fall open again. Fall up, bring it in, across the midline slightly, and then the foot just falls to the floor on the inside of that knee. And let's do that again. Out, slide that leg up using those muscles here in the core, pulling that leg in and across, down. And this time we're just going to end with that leg open. And all of your exhaling breaths are going to go into this pelvic area here, just letting that pelvic floor unwind and release. And whenever you're ready, start to slide that left leg back to straight. You're going to pull that right leg in. That foot is on the inside of the left knee. The leg's going to fall out to the side. We use the muscles to pull that knee up towards the arm. And then we bring everything in slightly across the midline of the body. And then just slide the inside of the foot to the inside of the opposite knee. Leg goes out. Pull it up. and bringing it in and slightly across the midline. Put that foot down onto the ground and once again out. Last pull in, coming up, around, and down. This one, we just let the leg fall out to the side. And again, the breath and the exhale is going to happen through the hips. Release the glutes, especially on that right side, and just let everything relax. And you're going to exhale as you bring that right knee back up and extend the leg onto the ground. Once again, let's just pedal those knees. Shake those legs out a little bit. And we are going to take our attention to our shoulders while we have our strap. At this point, if you want to keep your legs straight, you can. If you'd like to keep the knees and the hips bent, whatever feels most relaxing for you, you're going to grab out nice and long, wide, I should say, onto your strap. And we're going to work on just letting those arms fall to the ground. Keeping them straight, we're going to come back up again. And we'll slide a little bit. So coming over the head and then back up. And again, just letting the weight of the arms pull out into the band. We're not trying to stretch the band, but just let it feel like it's pulling out and relaxing into the band. From here, keep your arms overhead, and you're going to pull with your left arm as you bring your right arm closer towards your head. We're doing this laying on the ground, so you're not having to hold the weight of your arms up against gravity right now. And again, you can just create that awareness of where your true range of motion is without having to use the strength to hold the arms up. So we're just going back and forth here, pulling with your left arm and then pulling with your right arm. The backs of your arms are against the ground, keeping those elbows pretty straight for the most part. So we're not going to bend the elbow yet to bring the arm across. So just trying to keep the elbow straight for now. And breathe. I'm not cueing anything, giving you any tips on anything that's happening in your rib cage. Just let whatever wants to happen, happen naturally today. And breathe. This time as we come off to the other side, continue to pull and I'm letting my right arm, my elbow bend. So now I'm getting a little bit more of a stretch into my right tricep area. And then I extend that arm, pull. When I get my arm up as far as it'll go, I just start to bend my elbow and keep sliding that other arm along the floor. And again, back and forth here. Bending the elbow this time. Bringing both arms back up over your head. And then we're going to bring those arms up so that the knuckles are facing the ceiling. And now we're just going to pull side to side. This is where you might be able to go ahead and walk your hands a little bit closer on your strap. Okay, again, slowly pull so you can pay attention to what's happening on the back side of the shoulder. So we're using the weight of this arm that's going down to the floor to pull the other arm. This guy's along for the ride. And then we turn on those muscles on that arm and pull it across, shut the other ones off on the left arm. And we're just going back and forth, Just practicing shutting the muscles off on the arm that's coming across the body. And then when we pull over, turn them back on. Bringing those arms back up to a vertical position. Let's start to do some circles with the arms while they remain straight across from each other. If you need to go wider again, you can. If you want to play around and go a little bit closer, you can do that. So keeping the elbows straight, the circle motion is coming from that shoulder joint. And a couple, 3 to 5 this direction, and then let's switch the other direction. We're going to let that band go, bending at the elbow with the fingertips up towards the ceiling. You're going to keep the elbow bent. You're going to drive those fingertips over the head and then just bring everything back down again. Over and down. So we are going to do a little bit of a purposeful motion. So as your arms are coming over the head, you might notice one side, I'm going to point out my right side here, the wrist might come in, the elbow might come out. I want you to think about drawing that elbow, whichever side that is, okay, so that they're just straight across from each other and they look exactly the same. So you're going to have to really pull using some of your external rotator cuff muscles to keep that arm in there. And then again, as you come over your head, if you notice it wings out, just fight that a little bit because you're creating a nice stretch through the muscles that are tight and are trying to pull that elbow out and that wrist in. So continue that motion, imagining you have a bar from your wrist to your wrist and from your elbow to your elbow. And we are going to take some attention to our rib cage for these next few. So as my fists or my fingers come over, I might notice that my back wants to start to arch. And that's again because those muscles are pretty tight as we start to come over. So whenever you start to feel that, you're going to fight that motion by just bearing down and bracing through those abdominal muscles. So let's continue about 3 more like this. All of those intentional motions. And release. So you can roll off to one side and we're going to bring ourselves up to a tabletop position here. So now we're loading the joints a little bit, right? So relax those feet onto the floor. And all I want you to do is start to bring your right hip bone up towards your right rib cage. So here, and then back to the center, and then the left. So I'm just going to turn the positioning of my body so you can kind of see what my pelvis is doing. So I'm hiking my left hip, bringing everything back to the center, and then I'm hiking my right hip up, and then back to the center. So side, center, side, center. this is a little bit too much weight on your wrists today, you can start to come down to your forearms and you can still get that height. But notice how I'm not rounding my back over and trying to get that height. I want to just keep my pelvis in that neutral position, whatever that is for me, side to side. You can continue to just go from left to right here. And bring everything back in the center. We're going to take some attention into the shoulders. We're going to drive the chest down towards the ground as the arm bone slides to the back of the shoulder socket. There was no elevation in my shoulders. I just kept my shoulders away from my ears and just sunk my chest down. And then from here, we're going to press the floor away from us and we're going to bring our chest up towards the ceiling and just flatten that area between the shoulder blades. We're not going to round it over by tilting our pelvis or our rib cage. We're just going to flatten it. Slowly sink, slow. And then press the floor away from you, flattening that area between the shoulder blades. Continue to go in and out of that. If it's too much on your wrists, you can just do this without the floor or go by a wall. You can also just move through gravity here. But it's nice to load those shoulders to get a little extra stretch, acting like a little traction. And then just bring your arms back into whatever neutral position that might be. And we're going to go back to our pelvis. So this time we're going to rotate, or we're going to tilt our pelvis forward and think about the tailbone going up as high as you can towards the floor. And again, sink the chest down into your shoulders. Okay, so the back of the arms go to the back of the shoulders. And then we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to press away from the floor, flattening that area between the shoulder blades, and then tucking the tailbone under, pulling the hip bone, ASIS, into the rib cage, contracting here. And then bring everything back into neutral and sink it once again. Chest goes down, tailbone goes up. That is what you want to feel like when you're doing your yoga classes. Just let everything release. And now press away from the floor, but just go to where your upper back is flat. Tilt the pelvis. This time we're going to take it one more notch. Once your pelvis tilts as far back as it can, you're going to give it another little press with your arms, and you're going to lift the upper back to the ceiling. And let's just do that one more time. Go back into neutral. Sink one last time, shoulders to the back of the arm, or the arm to the back of the shoulder socket, rib cage towards the floor, tailbone up. And then once again, press away from the floor, tuck the tailbone. Once your tailbone is tucked under, you're going to give it a little extra press, and you're going to add the chin to your chest bone. And release. Good. Go ahead and come into a seated position. We loaded our wrists for quite a while. We're going to actually pay attention to our wrists here. So just going ahead and doing some nice circles. You can just hold those arms up if you want. I want you to make some big circles with those wrists in one direction. It's actually a really good time to do some mobility with the wrists after you load it and really engage those muscles, and then go the other direction. Good. Resting your hands onto your legs, your knees. Maybe you need to be like this. It might feel a little bit better for you. And you're going to make sure that your wrists are free to move. We're bringing the pinkies down, thumbs up, pinkies down, thumbs up. Just going through that ulnar and radial deviation in your wrist joints. Now, this alone can be a strengthening exercise just by using those muscles to move the hands, placing the end of a dumbbell in your hand and the other end here, or a hammer. The handle of the hammer and the weight of the hammerhead down is going to strengthen those wrists. We're going to just turn palms down, and now we're going to rotate into supination and pronation. It's going to be a little bit more into our forearms now. Right? Rotate palm up and palm down. Palm up and palm down. And keeping your palm up, we're going to go ahead and flex the wrist in this position and then spill it open. Fingertips to the floor. Flex and extend. Flex and extend. So are you really using those muscles on this side to pull the weight of the hand up and down, up and down. Just flip them over, fingertips down. Now we're using the back side of those forearms to come up and down. Up, down, one more, up and down. Let's take the attention to our fingers, grabbing onto a thumb and pulling that back. Laying it down gently, grabbing onto the next finger. Try to flex at that first joint. Never forcing anything. And up, down. Let's go to that other hand. Grabbing that thumb, gently pulling it back. Release, other finger, and release. I'm hoping that your body feels like it's recovering from whatever tension it had coming into today. And we're just going to kind of move those fingers around, randomization with those fingers. Train that brain to just react in different motions. All right, let's go ahead and bring ourselves onto our tummies. A position we do not spend enough time in, right? We always are on our backs, standing, sitting. So we're just going to come to our tummies and we're going to use the floor. We don't need our band this time. So just rest your forehead onto your floor. If that's straining your neck at all, you can always put a pillow or something underneath it. Now, for some of you that have more of a forward head posture, just placing your forehead on the floor is forcing those the head to come back a little bit, and you might really feel it stretching in the neck. So at any time, if you need to turn your head without my cue, go ahead and do so. So we're going to start here, and I want us to start with our elbows bent at a right angle, and we're going to reach out those arms to the sides of the room, pressing the palms into the floor gently. And then we're going to pull in and think about bringing the elbows in the upper arm to the side of the rib cage. So if I looked at you from the top, you look like a little W with your arms. And then back out. Reach. And pull them back in. And out. We're not trying to create a whole bunch of strength or resistance here. We're just kind of paying attention again. Oh, that feels good to just gently contract those back muscles and bringing it in. Very important motion for those of us that have a rounded upper back posture, and stretch it out again. This time, continue to keep your forehead on the ground if you can, and you're going to slide those hands along the ground until your thumbs touch. Arms are going to be straight all the way down, pinky side to the sides of the thighs. And again, so we're doing a face down snow angel. Pay attention to the shoulders here when your pinkies are here. Are they relaxed down, or are you using those muscles to keep the arm in the shoulder socket? It wants to go flop down to the front of it. Try to engage just a little bit. And again, go through that snow angel. Thumbs together. And bring it down. From here, I give you permission to just let the shoulders drop, and you're going to turn your head to the right. Just release. So you might not notice, but your shoulder might start to shrug up towards your chin. Imagine someone's pulling your fingertips down, and then just relax. Okay. Right now, wherever your chin is, I want you to start to bring that chin up just a little bit more away from your shoulder and relax. This is going to be a big stretch for some of us. And to respect that, we're now going to slowly turn to the other side. And again, just pay attention to that shoulder. Did it shrug up towards the chin? If it did, slide it down. Let the shoulder relax. And bring your chin slightly away from your shoulder and relax again. And let's bring that head back into neutral, so your forehead's on the ground. And you're going to turn your palms up towards the ceiling, bringing the backs of your hands towards your seat, maybe even a little higher. See if you can get them to your low back and just place one on top of the other. And just work on releasing and letting the weight of the elbows fall towards the floor. Every exhale, just feel those arms getting a little bit heavier. If you have one hand on top of the other, just switch them at this point. And release those hands. You're going to go ahead and extend those arms over your head and then slightly into a small little V. And then just bring the elbows back. So from here, we're pressing into our palms as if we're trying to push the mat or the floor out from underneath us and go into a little extension. Go ahead and keep your head in neutral. If you want to bring your chin up, that's fine, as long as it doesn't strain the back of your neck. Otherwise, just keep that neck nice and long. And release. Forehead comes down. You slide your hands back one hand length. So you replace the bottom of your wrist with the top of your fingers. You're in the same position, kind of wide. And on your exhale, you press the floor away from you and lengthen that spine. Bringing everything down. If that was enough tension on your spine, you're going to stay there. Otherwise, you're going to go one more step. Replace the wrist again with those fingertips. We're going to be forcing ourselves to really use the strength of our arms and press the floor away 1/3 and final time. No shrugging. Keep the ears away from the shoulders, long spine. And release. We're going to stay in this face down position. Whoops. Barbara, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you in the waiting room. I don't know if it was not, didn't come up or if you just got here. I apologize deeply. Okay. Arms are going to extend out. You're going to go ahead. You can turn your head to the right and you're going to bend your right knee. Okay. And now you're going to start to lift that right hip up and you'll end up rolling onto the front of that left shoulder. So it's going to be a very big stretch for that left side of your chest there. And you're bringing your right toes to the floor behind you. Go ahead and press into the floor as able with that right hand. All these muscles here on me are just really contracted. I'm going to try to breathe and just let that leg fall down a little bit more, closer towards the floor. We're not going to hold it too long. Start to bring that right knee over the left. Everything comes back to the floor. You're going to turn your head to the left, bending your left knee. Starting to lift that left hip up off the floor. Bringing those toes to the ground. Really stretching out the front of your right shoulder. Pressing into the floor gently with your left hand. And again, if your knee is up like mine, just try to release those outer thigh muscles and let that knee fall a little bit. Starting to bring that left knee over the right. Everything comes back. Let's do that one more time on each side. Turning that head, making you go through this slow and control. You really get in tune with what's tight, what's not. And we come back. One more time on the other side. Turn the head to the left, bend the left knee. And that left hip comes up. Tippy toes to the floor. Press through that left hand. And bringing it up, or bringing it back down, I should say. And slowly pressing yourself back up to tabletop. Relaxing the tops of the feet into the ground. And I want you to just go back and forth a few times here. Sitting those hips back towards the heels as your knees allow. A lot of extension through that spine here. All right. Let's go ahead and lay onto our side here. Knees are going to be stacked. Shoulders are going to be stacked. Now, if you have a pillow or you have something you want to place between your knees, you can certainly do so if you want. You kind of put it right in there just to create a little space in between your legs. Might feel a little bit more comfortable for your hip. It's not, you don't have to do that, but it might feel better. Let's see if we can get the head to the floor. So our shoulders are stacked. head to the floor, and just release these neck muscles. Avoid letting the shoulder come up. Let that top shoulder just drop down. And you're going to take that top hand and start to circle it or swipe it along the floor, making a big circle. And then you're going to let that top shoulder blade go with that hand. The hand continues. You're taking your knees and kind of pushing them the opposite way as your shoulder blade. Then from there, that bottom arm is going to reach towards the ceiling. And just feel the weight of those legs pulling on the entire back area. We take that bottom arm, reach it out again, lay it on the floor. Skimming your fingertips along the floor, you're going to reverse and get back into that sideline position the same way you did, getting into it. One more time. Fingertips skim along the floor, shoulder blade goes to the floor. If you have that pillow in between or something, squeeze it or press down into it, pushing the knee to get a little extra stretch. That bottom arm reaches up to the ceiling. And from here, extend the top leg. Just let your muscles on the outside of that leg just shut off and let it drop as much as it'll allow you. One more big exhaling release. And when you're ready, extend the arm onto the ground, bend the top knee, circle that back arm up and around again. And we're going to roll on to the other side. The hips are stacked, knees are stacked. If you do have an object, it just feels a little bit better to put something between because it raises up, there's not as much pull on that hip joint. Okay. Stacking those shoulders and then try to lay that head down on the ground. Something you might not be aware of is, I don't know if you notice, I kind of tucked my shoulder, is you might be taking that arm and shoving it to the top of your shoulder socket and it's really close. You want to create that space. So get onto the outside of your arm, your shoulder, then lay the head. Now you have a nice space here between your shoulder and your ear. Start to bring that top arm around the floor, fingertips touching. Open up the chest. Shoulder blade goes to the floor. Continue reaching with that back arm, pressing those knees down gently. And then you add that bottom arm, reach to the ceiling. See if you can get that back shoulder blade to lay a little bit closer or all the way onto the floor. Arm comes back to the floor, reverse your direction. Fingertips slide along the floor. And we hold again. And go back into it, sliding those fingertips. Shoulder blades are what you're concentrating on back there. And then driving the knees downward. Bottom arm up towards the ceiling here. Let's extend that top leg and just let it fall. Let it pull on the back and the pelvis and release. You're trying not to hold it up. Just let it drop. And bending that knee. Arm goes back to the floor and then reverse. Fingertips go along the floor again and back to your side. Okay. Let's go ahead and have you just lay onto your back. Or you can sit up if you would like. We're just going to work on relaxing. Okay. Just nice, relaxing. You can choose to close your eyes at this point, or you can keep them open and just gaze into space.
Thank you for finding some time to join me today.
We're
Even
gonna
this
use
brief
this
body
guide.
scan can make a big difference in how you will feel after it. You can close your eyes now and inhale slowly and deeply. Make some adjustments to feel more comfortable. And on your next exhale, notice which areas of your body are drawing your attention. People are all different, and the way you're made and the way you move throughout the day might result in using some parts of your body more than others. And as you keep breathing slowly, you can feel your whole body. We can start by bringing your attention to the crown of your head, the tallest point of your body. And begin to come down slowly, noticing your forehead. With your eyes still closed, you can gently frown or move your eyebrows up and down to feel the small muscles releasing any tension. And as you feel the air flowing through your nostrils, you move your tongue to relax it, especially the back of it, so it does float in your mouth. And as you separate your teeth, you feel your jaw unclenching on both sides. And you can bring your awareness to the back of your neck. A deep inhale and a slow exhale melt all the tension away. And as your shoulders slowly lower, you can feel your upper back, and your chest rises and falls with every breath. And while you become more and more aware of your body, you can start feeling your heartbeat rippling through your chest, your arms, your palms, your fingers, and you might feel tingling or numbness. And as you keep breathing deeply into your belly, you feel your abs and lower back moving with every breath. And you feel the weight on your hips, connecting your upper body with your lower body, your glutes, your groin, your inner thighs. Spend a moment to feel your quads in equilibrium with your hamstrings, your knees which support you, your calves often carrying some of the leg's tension. And as you slightly slow down your breathing, you can feel them in balance with each other and with your shins. You can now bring your focus to your ankles. You might feel some tingling or numbness. And as you bring your awareness to where your toes connect to your feet, you start noticing the soles of your feet, which carry your weight during the day. And as you notice which parts are tenser, you can breathe in deeply. And as you exhale, you can find how some small movements can relax them. And you can start taking 3 deep breaths while you follow my voice. You start feeling your whole body. You can notice how you're more aware of it now, and how the areas that were tenser before feel different right now. The more you practice, the more you will be able to relax your body without even thinking of it. I hope this makes you feel better and better every day. Thank you for sharing your time with me today. See you soon.